Good morning and welcome. Thank you for being up early. It is great to be in this event center. Mr. Tate and I were just talking about how nice it is to start this year in a manner that seems much more normal. We don't have to have the kind of different types of plans that we've had the last 2 years. So let's hope we all continue to stay healthy and things go really well. This ceremony, called a patch ceremony, is set up by design to implement what we would call rites of passage, with the conviction that it is smart to pause at the different grade levels and talk to the students about who they are and where they are going. Rites of passage, have been really important traditionally in our societies all around the world. And I believe that they send important messages. And the message that I want to highlight this morning is that these ninth graders are entering their high school career. We certainly hope they do well academically, but I want to, and extracurricularly, but I want to emphasize the first part of the motto, the gentleman part. And I want to say that you're thinking about who you are and the kind of person that you will be over the next 4 years, as well as what kind of class you will have, are really important matters. And we hope that you work together to build strong bonds. We hope that you respect yourselves and one another. I particularly like the idea of thinking about the word gentleman in a modern context. It is an old-fashioned word, but I think it lends itself to thinking about issues of respect and compassion and empathy and the kind of person that we hope you will become. It's been fascinating to watch the world wrestle with topics like racial justice. And in the context of MBA, I have felt that we have a great asset in this gentleman word, because I think it can help us bridge the gaps of understanding one another, taking care of one another, respecting everyone regardless of who he or she is and what their backgrounds are. So the other message I want to leave is that it often takes the ninth grade group a little time to figure out who they are and what they really want to be involved in. And to some extent, that is absolutely okay, because a lot of students have, tried perhaps one sport or one activity and found that they really like another, or that, they're not as good in an activity they'd hoped they could perform in. What you need to ensure is that you do jump in. Don't stand on the sidelines too long. Figure out that just being in the various games of service, or try things like theater, go to events. We had a terrific event in this room earlier this week. Just be certain that you allow yourself to be open-minded and be a more complete person. And so I hope that your high school journey is a really terrific one, and we want to make these next 4 years extraordinary for you. We are pleased to introduce now a senior who will make some comments about this morning and I think the next 4 years. I'm particularly pleased to introduce Coleman. I've known at least his mother's side of the family for probably 40 plus years. I was a headmaster at a different school, and she was a student there. So it's really fun to see that evolution, and it's great to see Coleman. He is a wonderful individual, works really hard, I was telling his mom recently, the coaching staff talked about, what a team player he is and how terrifically he adds value to their programs, and I see that in who he is. And I am, as I said, proud to introduce to you Coleman Roddy. Please join me in welcoming him.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Joy, for allowing me to speak this morning. My name is Coleman Roddy, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm a senior and the brother of Hughes Roddy, a freshman who is sitting among you today. First, I want to congratulate you all on making it through middle school and to high school. This is the start of a great new chapter in your lives. High school is a time where you can truly establish yourself as an individual, and hopefully find things that you're very passionate about, and I hope you're excited. You will be surrounded with countless opportunities, and I would like to give you some advice on how to best utilize the opportunities you are given. Before the start of my freshman year at MBA, I had a general idea of who I wanted to be and how I wanted to establish myself. I thought that I was going to be a three-sport athlete playing football, basketball, and baseball all the way through high school, maybe getting involved in a couple of clubs that my friends and I could all do, but that's it. I had really no intention of stepping out of my comfort zone and doing something that I'd never previously done before. Running for student council my freshman year changed that view for me. When I was elected to the student council as a freshman, I realized that student leadership was something that really spoke to me, and I've been a member of the student council ever since my freshman year and have enjoyed it very much. One of the things that I enjoy most about being on the student council is the ability to make friendships with students in other grades. I can confidently tell you that as a freshman, I was pretty terrified of going up and talking to a senior. I know that as a freshman, it seems like you are at the bottom of the totem pole in the high school, but the reality is that you're all just as important as any upperclassman is, with the same ability to establish yourself as a leader. This speaks to the fact of how MBA is one big family, actually a brotherhood. Don't feel as if you're inferior just because of your age. I urge you to find something you're passionate about, set goals, get involved, and stick with it. Don't look back. You'll make many memories both inside and outside of the classroom. In the classroom and on the field, my fondest memories come from building relationships with my teachers and coaches. While being with all my friends in the classroom and on the field is great, I always appreciated the benevolence and caring nature of the MBA teachers and coaches. Two teachers in particular that have made an impact on me are Mr. Sawyer and Dr. Onstadt, two of my English teachers. Not only did I enjoy Mr. Sawyer's English class, but I also was able to recently go on the MBA Out West trip to Yellowstone and the Tetons. There, I was able to spend time with Mr. Sawyer fly fishing on the Madison River and hiking in the backcountry of the Tetons. I also greatly enjoyed getting to know Dr. Onstadt through his English class. I really appreciated the easygoing feel of Dr. Onstadt's class, and he further facilitated my passion for English. It was also enjoyable learning that he and my dad have a similar passion for road biking, and we would often compare biking times to see who was the faster biker. After comparing times, it wasn't even close. Dr. Onstadt lost my dad at the starting line. It's no secret that you will have some long nights of homework or a botched test where it's easy to think that all the teachers want is to see your grades suffer. But each and every teacher at MBA is truly on your side and only wants the best for you. So I challenge each of you to get to know your teachers because you never know what all you will have in common. Coaches have also played a very important role in my growth as an individual as well. Two coaches in particular, Coach Brock and Coach Anderson, have taught me lessons far greater than any sport that I can apply to many areas of my life. The funny thing is that as a freshman, I was utterly terrified of both of these coaches, to the point where I probably would walk the other way if I was about to pass them in the hallway. My fear of Coach Anderson was rooted in the MBA All-Sports camp that I grew up going to, and Coach Brock intimidated me just because of his sheer size and his being the strength and conditioning coach of the football team. But as I played football and baseball throughout high school, I went from being scared of these coaches to knowing that I could always go to them for any type of advice, whether it be about sports, school, or life in general. This goes for all of the coaches at MBA. No matter what sport you're involved in, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, or even debate, know that you will be surrounded by coaches that only want the best for you. Another important part about my time on the Hill has been going on trips through MBA. Going to a school like MBA, we are extremely blessed to be able to go on some amazing trips, and I highly encourage you to take advantage of as many as you can. My 8th grade year, I went on the MBA Out West trip to the Olympic National Parks in Mount Rainier, and I had an incredible time. Even though I was one of the only 8th graders on the trip, everybody made me feel very welcome. My freshman year, I went to the Dominican Republic, and that is a trip that I will never forget. Not only was the resort, food, and sightseeing incredible, but it was awesome being able to help build homes and playing with kids that come from less privileged areas in the DR. My sophomore year, I went on my second MBA Out West trip to the Grand Canyon, Sequoia, and Yosemite National Parks. One of my favorite memories at MBA comes from the Half Dome hike in Yosemite National Park, when Mr. Norton failed to mention that Half Dome was listed as the second hardest hike in the U.S. until about halfway through the hike. Although that was the hardest 22 miles I'll ever do in my life, I'm very glad I did it. It was a great memory to share with all my friends who were doing it with me. My junior year, I went on my third MBA Out West trip to Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons, which was this past summer, which was an absolute blast as we were able to backpack 10 miles into the backcountry of the Tetons and do some awesome fishing on the Madison and Snake Rivers. With all this being said, I hope that you will take advantage of the trips that MBA has to offer. These trips definitely paid off for me, and I know they will for you too. You all might not know what I'm talking about now, but as I'm closing in on my final year here on the Hill, it's easy to think of MBA as just a means of getting into college. No, MBA is far greater than that. While you all should strive to get good grades and ultimately attend a college fit for you, the relationships built and the memories made are what really matter. Find a group of friends who you can always count on. Try out for a sport that you've never played before, or start a new club. The resources at MBA are abundant. All you have to do is put yourself out there. I urge you to take the road less traveled. I know it sounds cliche, but find out what really interests you, no matter what anyone else thinks of it. Building self-confidence comes from being able to make your own path and not just settling for less. Establish yourself and find your niche in the MBA community and be proud of it. Thank you, and Roll Red.
Thank you, Coleman. It was nice to be reminded of all those trips and your love of the outdoors. You reminded me to also mention that thinking ahead about your summers is a good thing to do also. Doesn't mean you can't make changes, but at least having some concepts of, where are you going to find a passion like loving the outdoors as you have found, Coleman. So I hope that you all will listen to those great words, and I appreciate your speaking this morning. Mr. Kessler was supposed to be here this morning, and he is going to be here on the screen. He tested positive for COVID 2 days ago. His second grade son contracted it from a classmate last Friday, I guess, and then on Monday he tested positive, and although Mr. Kessler is vaccinated, it, like a lot of the Delta variant, it just passed to him. But he's doing well, and he really wanted to be here this morning. He really wants to be at school and with the crew team. He is a terrific individual, and I know the reason Mr. Sawyer and I wanted him to speak this morning is that he just exhibits a kind of compassion and empathy and for others that makes such a difference. I know the crew team knows that. I see some of them shaking their heads, and he has been an amazing addition to MBA. When we interviewed him 4 or 5 years ago, we knew immediately this would be a great person to have on the campus, and that's proved to be true. So I think the tech people are going to help me, is that right? And virtually now we're going to listen to his comments.
Good morning, gentlemen. Apologize for not being with you all in person. I would much rather be there with you guys than quarantine in the guest room of the house. For those that don't know me, my name is Coach Kessler, Rich Kessler, the rowing coach for the high school, and teach algebra and earth science and physics. And it's my 6th year at MBA, and 20th overall teaching and 28th overall, or starting 29th coaching. In the 6 years at MBA, I've been lucky enough to see a lot of the events that are hosted by classes and how MBA builds the sense of unity within a class. And so being invited to speak at the patch ceremony is, it's an honor for me. And so I'm just sorry that I can't be there in person to do this. So over the next 4 years, gents, you guys are going to have a lot of events designed as a class or for your class. You'll have your junior class ring ceremony, you'll have leavers dinners and your 100 days to graduation and class selections and monthly meetings. There are going to be a lot of times where MBA gets you together as a class. And it culminates in 1,364 days from today on May 30th, 2025, which is your commencements. And that's where MBA will send you out into the world as the class of 2025. In my mind, the patch ceremony is the second most important event. This is the very first one on campus where MBA has dedicated an event just for you guys to start building class unity and to build you guys together as a class, which on the face of it seems kind of odd. Like, why is it so important? You know, there's 130 of you ish. You play different sports, you're in different clubs, you're in different groups. Why is it so important that you guys come together as a class? And while I was thinking about all the different things to talk about with this speech, it hit me that of all the classes, the 155 years of classes that went through MBA, yours is going to be completely unique compared to any other one. The sophomores this past year, or sophomore class, they started with a hybrid as beginning of their freshman year. The junior class lost the second half of their freshman year because of COVID. The senior class is the only one out of the four classes in the high school to know what it's like to have a complete normal year, regular, typical year at MBA out of all four of the classes. And so the way you guys progress through over your next 4 years is going to be completely unique to you and relatable only to you guys in your class. No other class will know intimately that same progression through all 4 of your years. And who knows what the next 2 or 3 years are going to look like. Hopefully we're back to something a little bit more typical, but that's no guarantee. You guys are going to be that group having to stop and start. Hopefully we get to more of a regular opening. But it means that you guys are the ones who are going to be best equipped to support each other. As you guys are realizing, and for those that came in 7th and 8th grade, you'll see it even more, but MBA does a lot of competition. There's a lot of competing amongst you guys. You'll compete in the classroom, you'll compete on the field for positions, or on the court, or on the water, or in the water if you're a swimmer. There's a lot of competition involved at MBA, meant to push you to find your ultimate best. And you may not always come out on top, and that is fine. You don't always have to be the top performer. But when you are, the times that you are the top performer, look at the guys around you who may be feeling down and help lift them up. Because when the situation's reversed, you're going to want to count on those guys to help get you back on your feet. And that's what coming together as a class is, where you guys are working together. Yes, you're competing individually to try and come out on top, but at the end of the day, you're there, you're supporting each other, and you know you have each other's backs. The quote that you'll see in the dining hall, and I may butcher it, I'm trying to write it down, but it's strive mightily, but eat and drink as friends. One of the guys who graduated in 2019, James Vest, had a quote in the yearbook about rowing. And the way he described the team was much of the same way. It was We fight on the water like wolves and look after each other on land like brothers. And that's what MBA is about. And that's what the class is about, is you compete against each other and you do everything you can to try and come out on top. But at the end of the day, you don't hold it over anybody else in your class. You help bring the other guys up. You work together to try and push everybody forward. There's a whole slew of ways to go through life to make yourself feel better and to feel better about yourself. And one of them, the way too common, is to knock down everybody around you, because then you feel taller than everybody else. But if you start doing that, you're going to have to do that every single day, the rest of your life, to tear people down in order to make yourself feel better. The better way to do it is you help everybody around you. You help lift them up. And in the process, you find ways to make yourself improve along with them. Because everybody will end up better that way. And you'll feel better when you look in the mirror at night, knowing that you left the world a little bit better place. One of the things I talk about to all the boys on the team almost on a daily basis, and the freshmen on the team are going to hear this millions of times over the next 4 years rolling for me, is at the end of the day, you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror. Like every day before you go to bed, you take a quick glance in the mirror and know that you did everything possible to be the best that day, whether it's a student or an athlete or a son. And if you can, you look yourself in the mirror, you feel good, and you go back to bed. There will be days where you won't be able to, and it's fine. You don't throw in the towel, you don't give up, you just make a promise that the next day you will do it better. And you do that every single day for the rest of your life. And the questions will change. 20, 30 years from now, did you do everything you could to be a great employer or a great father? Those are the questions that make you come together, make you better as a person. And so starting that now as a class, are you doing everything you can to lift each other up and make each other better, will make you one of the strongest classes to leave MBA. One of the quotes from an old parent I had up north used to say all the time about the rowing season, and I'm going to mix the metaphor, the analogy, and apply it to your time at MBA, is Mr. Mazarin used to say all the time, the rowing season's like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. And it's the same thing with your time at MBA. 1,364 days until your time on the hill is over. Don't wait till the end to make an impact. Don't wait till the end to start getting to know the other guys in your class and building these relationships with the other guys in your class. Don't wait till the last few hundred days to take advantage of the guys and everything around you. Make it a conscious decision to start today, to start this week, to start immediately trying to build a class of 25 into one of the best classes to come through MBA. Thank you for your time, and I really do wish I could have been there in person with you all.
He is a really terrific individual, Mr. Kessler. Getting to know him over these past 6 years, and he experienced a really tough loss in losing their oldest son, who was born with severe handicap, and they didn't think he'd live a year. He lived to be 16. And watching him and his wife make sure that he had a full life in those 16 years, I think was ample evidence of the kind of person he is and the kind of, as I characterized him, empathy he has. I should have told you too that we've been really fortunate. The last 2 weeks we haven't had any COVID cases at school among the students and faculty. In fact, we only have one right now, Mr. Kessler. So sorry not to have him in person today, but you can tell what kind of person he is. Mr. Bassett has planned this morning's ceremony. I'm grateful for that. So join me in thanking him as he comes to the podium to explain the ceremony.
And I want to reiterate my thanks for Mr. Kessler. We appreciate all that he does inside the classroom and on the water at MBA. Now, gentlemen, your class will be defined by the principles discussed in this ceremony: how well you care for each other, how inclusive you are of each other and others, the types of teams that you build in athletics and other extracurricular activities, and whether you pursue endeavors to contribute to something greater than yourselves. We believe in you and hope you will aspire to appreciate the goodness in each one of your classmates and pursue excellence in the area of your interest with humility and empathy. The ninth grade year is an important beginning to a season of your life in which your foundation will be built. This patch ceremony is meant to commemorate this beginning of your high school journey at MBA. The patch that you will receive in a moment is meant to symbolize the values and ideals of the MBA community. We hope that you will wear it with pride. Please open your letters now and follow along with me as I read through the charge that you received this morning. At MBA, the ninth grade represents a meaningful step forward in the development of young men. The administration and faculty entrust the students with greater freedom and responsibility. As you attain more freedoms and your responsibility increases, you're expected to be self-motivated young men of commitment, discipline, empathy, humility, and service to peers and community, building toward a future leadership role in one or more areas of school-wide community life. The wearing of this patch symbolizes this transition, which will culminate with its proud display at your graduation from Montgomery Bell Academy. The MBA patch embodies the honor, respect, leadership, self-discipline, citizenship, and leadership that you will develop through your relationships with faculty, coaches, mentors, and one another through your experiences in and beyond the classroom at MBA. Please honor and strive to take personal ownership over these ideals. They are the primary legacy built through 155 years of the gentleman, scholar, athlete tradition at MBA. We hope that you will wear this patch with pride at coat and tie occasions until you walk across the graduation stage to receive the MBA diploma. We are excited for you to embark on this next part of your MBA journey. Welcome to the high school. Thank you to the orchestra for playing as you pick up your own patches. They will be playing selections from Water Music Suite this morning. Please follow the directions of Mr. McMahon, Mr. Tate, and Mr. Sawyer as they direct you to line up by row.
Well, congratulations to our ninth grade, and I hope that you will think very seriously and over time in deeper ways about the comments this morning from Coleman and from Mr. Kessler. I want to thank my colleagues, Mr. Sawyer, Mr. McMahon, Mr. Tate, Mr. Bassett, and others for helping orchestrate this, and of course our orchestra. I want to thank our seniors for coming this morning to hand out the patches. I want to thank our families for getting up early. So hope you've appreciated this ceremony. There'll be, as I said, a few more. The sophomores have a ceremony on service in just a little bit. And then the junior year, our ring ceremony is an important rite of passage and, of course, graduation. So have a great day. Thank you very much for being here.